I thought that was great. Welcome everyone, this is On Just Restart, and this time we are going to be discussing Wolfenstein 2 for the Nintendo Switch. So the game just came out today for the Nintendo Switch, which is why I'm playing it now and previewing it for you guys. It's the first time I've actually gotten my hands on the game, and I've had a lot of fun with it. But before I continue with this preview, I first want to thank Bethesda for actually offering me a review code so I could preview and review this game for you guys and let you know what I actually think of the game. So to tell you the truth, I have actually had a lot of fun with it. It's been great. So the first thing I want to talk about is actually the story. So the thing about the story is that I wasn't really sure if I would actually be prepared to enjoy it, because normally when I play like narrative driven shooter games, they're very slow paced in terms of story. Normally they don't throw you into the gameplay immediately, and that sort of annoys me most of the time. But in this game, you know, even though you're not thrown into like a shooting fest immediately, like the very first moment, the way the story is told is still very enthralling and engaging, and I just love it for several different reasons. One, the game world itself, right? There's a lot of attention to detail. There's a huge backstory, which, for the record, if you haven't played a Wolfenstein game before, like me, there is a recap at the beginning of the game, so it kind of gets you up to speed, so I didn't really feel like I was missing anything out. But anyways, the world building of this world is very detailed, right? But also, the characters in this world, there's so much going on with them, like, you just kind of, you get invested, like, they're very whimsical. There's a lot of dark humor and sarcasm, and the voice acting is spectacular. Like, there is some moments already in that first hour that I was captivated. And I feel like I'm pretty critical usually when it comes to movies and shows like that. So, the voice acting in this, I thought it was top notch. Like, it really captivated me, and there were some emotional moments within the first hour. And speaking about those emotional moments, I don't want to necessarily spoil anything for you guys, but within the very first like 20-30 minutes, there were already several moments where I was like, holy, crap, like this is kind of crazy. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Oh, please don't do that. Like, there was some intense moments. And this game definitely has a very, very serious tone in this kind of like dark dystopian world where the Nazis actually won World War II, which is a very unique, well, it's not a unique idea, but it's kind of interesting to see how it's all playing out in this world, and it's very, very well done. But like I said, even though this is a very dark dystopian world, a very kind of serious sort of like direction, there's a lot of whimsical characters and sarcasm and jokes all thrown throughout. So, it has a very nice balance, I think, and the pacing of it all is very well done. So my point being, the story is very well done, even for someone like me who needs to be engaged immediately, or you're just going to be put off by it. This put me onto it. I love it. It's for this first hour so far, it's been great. Now, when it comes to graphics and performance, because I know a lot of you guys really care about that, are very interested in it, I mean, yeah, the Nintendo Switch version, from what I've seen, is maybe not the best looking version of this game. I mean, it isn't. It's just not as powerful as PC or PS4 or Xbox One, but it still holds up pretty well, and if you're not comparing them side by side, you may not notice that much. I will say that some of the textures were a little blurry. Like, there was a couple scenes with a dog in it that was really up close, and I could barely tell it was a dog at some moment. So I will kind of critique it in that way, but for the most part, I thought most of the game held up pretty well. I could definitely see a stark contrast between like the CGI cutscenes and the in-game cutscenes. I could definitely tell there were some blurry moments, but overall, I would say the game holds up pretty well. And for the record, I played most of my time in TV mode so far, so that's where you could really see, everything on the big television. And yes, the resolution is higher in TV mode, but still, you could see, it's easier to see some of the blemishes of the game, I guess you could say. But overall, I would say the game still looks really good. There's a lot of particle effects and, color and lighting and shadow, all those cool little effect things. This game looks great. It really does, even if this is the lesser version, it still holds up pretty well. And in terms of performance, like actual frame rate, I didn't notice any slowdown. It felt pretty smooth and solid to me. There was nothing at all that was jarring about it. Granted, I wasn't playing on the 60 frame per second versions of the game. I just jumped into this one, so I have no comparison. But, as a standalone, actual presentation, I think this game holds up really, really well. But I also did play in portable mode, and I would say that in portable mode it's even harder to see any sort of blemishes. It looks even more smoother. Although, you know, if you want that cinematic experience, I still recommend TV mode. And it's like I said, it still holds up pretty well. But I am kind of, you know, I'm critiquing. I want to be honest with you guys. There are some moments that are a little blurry, but overall I say the game still looks really good. Now in terms of gameplay, like I said, the performance holds up pretty well in terms of frame rate, but the actual shooting gameplay and moving around, I felt it was very fluid, very smooth, very action-packed, and it was just really awesome to, like, you know, blast enemies. Or at one point I got like this giant laser gun, and just seeing things incinerate and just be torn apart and burned, and it was beautiful, it was gorgeous, and it was gory at the same time. Like, soon into the game you obtain the ability to do melee attacks with the hatchet, and it's gruesome, but also very beautiful at the same time. You know, I guess you could say it's an artful way to destroy human beings or whatever. It's great. I think it's a very good and compact experience. I wasn't confused as to where I had to go. A lot of times in first-person shooters, where there's a lot of dark corridors, I do feel like it's easy to get lost. In this game, well, there definitely were moments where like, okay, where do I go? But it wasn't so much to the point where I was confused. I just kind of had to figure it out a little bit. It also sort of lent itself to sort of me exploring the world a bit more, seeing some lore, like with, you know, pieces of paper and things like that, or listening to different characters, you know, having a conversation. I could listen in, and so I get a better understanding of what's going on in the game world, because there's a lot of attention to detail there. There's a lot of like little details with the game world and the backstory, and it's all very, very interesting, and it kind of just goes hand in hand with what I've been saying with all these whimsical characters, which really help to support this game world very, very well. So it's all kind of coming together. The story, the presentation, you know, the way the game looks, the actual gameplay, it all comes together very, very well, and it's strong. Now, I do have, I guess, a minor critique when it comes to gameplay, though. So far, I would say that the game kind of doesn't do the best job of telling you exactly what you need to do in terms of like switching weapons or jumping and different things like that. Like, you know, when I was collecting guns, at one point I was sort of thinking, oh, so when you get a new gun, you don't have your old gun? It took me a while to figure out how to do it. Now, the game did eventually tell me, but it took me a good 30 minutes with using pistols before I knew that I still had my submachine guns. They were just in my actual like backpack or whatever, and I had to switch them out, but I just didn't know how to. So, you know, the game could do a slightly better job of maybe telling you that, but, you know, within the hour I already knew how to do everything, so it's not that bad. But again, you know, minor gripes here, but, you know, overall I would say everything's pretty well presented, everything's pretty easy to understand. So, you know, I've had a lot of fun with this game so far, guys. So I would say that this game is something that if you are into shooting games, like not necessarily, it's not multiplayer, right? This is not a multiplayer game. So if you're getting this for multiplayer, that's not what this is. This is a single player experience. If you're looking for a game that has a very, very strong narrative with a lot of shooting elements it is very beautiful and visceral, this is the game for you, for sure. And on Nintendo Switch, I would say it holds up pretty darn well. It offers you the portability. Oh, and there's one more thing I forgot to mention. For the gameplay, you can turn on gyro controls, and I will say that the gyro controls, they feel pretty good. Like, it's definitely way better than any sort of dual analog setup. So if you're not playing this on PC and you want to get a console version of this game and you also like the portability, I would say Wolfenstein 2 on the Nintendo Switch, from what I've played so far, might be the ideal version. So then, if you have a Nintendo Switch, guys, and you're willing to put down the money, I strongly suggest checking this game out. From what I've played so far, I've had a lot of fun with it, and I can't wait to dig deeper into this game and let you know my full, more complete thoughts, hopefully a week or so from now, for my review. But anyways, everyone, those are my quick initial thoughts for Wolfenstein 2 on the Nintendo Switch. I'm pretty hyped about it. I'm pretty excited about it. But let me know what you guys think. Have you guys played it yet? What have you seen so far? What do you think of the game? I'm curious, so let me know in the comments below. But anyways, everyone, thank you so much for listening and watching, and I will see you all really soon. Bye.